Hello and welcome to Attention Central Texas. I'm your host for today, Charles Jenkins, and today we have another exciting show in store for you. We have Jasmin Swanson, who's an author. Hello and welcome to today's show.
Hello.
Jasmin, let me just jump right into the questions. First, just tell me a little bit about yourself.
Well, my name is Jasmin Swanson, and I'm 17 years old and published 2 books, Avalon and Angel Whisper.
Okay.
And they're sci-fi fiction books, and I've been writing since I was 3 years old, and writing's always been a passion for me, so to have 2 books out has been an honor.
All right. Well, you answered my first question, when did you start writing, but what's your inspiration behind your writing?
Surprisingly, lots of my inspiration comes from playing video games because at heart I'm still like a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And also from ideas from my dreams, because I have some interesting ideas in my dreams and I just write it down on paper and it becomes part of my story. So,
talking about dreams, what is your biggest dream?
My biggest dream is reaching out nationally or even internationally, but inspiring my peers to follow their dreams and never give up on the things they like to do.
Wow. One of my favorite football players said, Bo Jackson, he said, set your goals high and don't stop till you get there. And it seems like that's something you're inspiring to do. Being an author, what kind of books do you like to read?
I like to read fiction books. Actually, my favorite book is actually a children's book, Jenny B. Jones, the series. That's actually my favorite book.
When did you publish your first book?
Avalon was first published through a self-publishing company, Author House. The cover was different, and some of the content in my book was different. I changed it about 30% and made it Avalon Journey to the Transcendent World, but it's basically the same book. And I started that when I was 14 years old. All
right. Now, we'll get to the other book later. Tell me a little bit about what is Avalon about?
Well, Avalon is basically about a 15-year-old girl named Angela, and she discovers she's a descendant of light when a spiritual mentor named Mary comes into her dreams, and so she has to fight darkness in Avalon, which is like a transcendent world or parallel universe. So basically, Angela, she discovers she has this awesome, weird powers by her spiritual mentor, and she's just like the underdog, and she has to learn how to use her powers, and she ends up going on this journey and meets all these friends with powers also, and they have weapons and to eliminate darkness.
I see you smile when you talk about Avalon. What message does it send to, say, I'm a 15-year-old reading Avalon, what message do you think I'll get out of your book?
I think that it's kind of like recognizing kind of like your talents and what you have to do, and it's kind of like going through a process of learning yourself, and then and the other message is she ends up eliminating darkness, but basically she's finding her true self.
Mm-hmm. And you said something else that stuck out to me. You said she was the underdog. Tell us a little bit about that.
Because she's like an average girl, you know, going to school, have friends, and then she just has these dreams about like dark fiends in her dreams. She's like, oh, what's going on with this? And she's like, and then Mary comes into her life, her spiritual mentor, and she's just like, okay, I need to teach you this, this, and this. I need to teach you how to handle your powers. And she's just like, whoa, it's very overwhelming for Angela.
Wow. I heard you say a great name that's in the Bible, Mary. What inspired you to make that character Mary?
Mary, when I was writing the names for my characters, I think Mary was more like a name that had a lot of symbolism to it. So like maybe Mary would be a good name for a spiritual mentor.
Okay. I read you illustrated the book as well.
I illustrated both of my books, actually. This is Belton Lake, Bloor Lake, but I had photoshopped it in the background. And these are my drawings, and I photoshopped them to look more animated. And these are also characters that I drew. And this one in the back, everything's photoshopped.
You're pretty talented. Let's talk about your second book, Angel Whispers. Read for us a second and insert out of it or something off your back cover.
Okay.
And then we'll talk about it.
Okay. Let me see. I'll probably start in the middle of chapter one. Chapter 1 called The Meeting. Marina waved goodbye and entered her mother's car. I began my walk home down the sidewalk and into the city night. I looked up into the sky and stared at the full moon above the skyscrapers. Man, that would be so cool if I can go to the moon, I announced aloud. Man, I see the full moon every day where I come from, an unfamiliar male voice mocked. I was startled by the response, and I turned to see a homeless guy with light brown, spiked, darkly streaked hair sitting relaxed against an alley wall. His clothes were tattered, and I could barely see his face in the darkness. Feeling unthreatened, I ignored him. I continued to walk a few more feet when I saw the same guy standing in my periphery and pointing at the moon. "Watch this," exclaimed the homeless guy as he flew up into the sky. He pinched his fingers together like he was holding a pencil and began moving an imaginary pencil over the moon. Voila! Somehow he had drawn funny faces on the moon. I stopped and rubbed my eyes. I had to make sure I was not daydreaming or seeing imaginary things. It was not unusual for me to zone out. After rubbing my eyes, I realized he was still there. Suddenly, his appearance transformed to that of an average-looking teenager. He had a tan complexion with hazel almond-shaped eyes. I convinced myself this guy was not human at all. Then I saw a white ray of silhouette his body. I felt a soothing, warm, peaceful, positive presence emanating from him. "I don't have any money for you, homeless guy, or whoever you are," I said sarcastically. He tilted his head at me a little and smiled.
That's very interesting. What is, so when I said that's very interesting, you had a big old smile light up. What's your inspiration behind Angel Whispers?
Basically, same writing, actually Avalon did inspire me to write, and Angel Whispers was actually a short story I had written in 8th grade, and by the success of Avalon, like, well, maybe I should make this short story into an actual novel.
Okay. And speaking of your books, if someone watching this today wanted to get a hold of your books, how can they do that?
I think the best way to reach me is by my website, is jlsbooks.com, or they can order online through any book retailer like Barnes & Noble, Amazon, and also they're on shelf at Hastings and Killeen, so they can get it from there also.
Have you had or are you having any book signings coming up, or?
Yes, actually, I'm having the book signing at the Fort Hood Clear Creek PX from December 18th to the 23rd from 2 to 5 p.m.
All right. What, if you had to say a sentence about each of your books, what would that be?
A sentence from my books, or?
No, a sentence like an attention getter that would make someone just want to go out and buy it. What would you say about your books if you had to share that with everybody?
I'd say the books both have adventure and they reflect on human emotions and a lot of feelings. I think a lot of people can relate to things that go on in the books. So.
All right. I'm inspired sitting here today, and you're like, that guy is older than me, and he's inspired. I'm inspired by your passion and by your zeal behind just your drive to get it done. And you're only 16 years old, 17. Yes. You told me that, 17 years old, and the future looks very bright for you. What are your parents saying about your dream and your journey?
My parents are very supportive of my dreams and goals, and they do whatever they can to make sure that happens for me. I'm very proud and thankful.
All right. What are your friends saying about, oh my goodness, she writes books now?
Yeah, they're a little astonished and inspired, and they also support me as well. So,
how was it for you, being an author myself? How was it for you when someone purchased your first book and you got to write a note in that? What was that feeling like?
It was feeling like my book is actually, this is a real book. Like, I'm signing the book out to somebody. I'm inspiring somebody. That's like the greatest feeling in the world, is inspiring another person. And that was just the best feeling in my entire life.
Wow. If you had to guess a number, how many do you think you've sold so far of each book?
Well, Angels was recently published. So,
Okay.
Avalon, I'd say probably a little over 400 or maybe more.
That's pretty good.
Yeah,
That's pretty good.
I sold a lot.
Well, I want to encourage you today that the sky is the limit. Dream it and achieve it. R. Kelly wrote a song. He said, if I can see it, I can do it. If I just believe, there's nothing to it. Continue to think that way and continue to feel that way because you're on your way. We have about 2 minutes left on the show. I want to open these 2 minutes up for you to just talk to our viewers today and just talk about your books and encourage people to go out and get them. What would you say to them?
Well, I always consider myself, like, when I was younger, I felt that I was a little different at some times. Like, but I did like average kid things, like I draw. Like, I started drawing when I was 3 and writing when I was 2. And drawing's another one of the things I like to do. That's why I drew. It's important that I drew the illustrations for my cover because I felt that it was all a part of me, and I want to use all my gifts and talents for my book. And I also took art classes to help, you know, mold my skills in drawing. And I like to mix my talents together to make a big whole talent and inspire kids that I did the same things you did, and this is where it got me.
Wow. Jasmin, again, I can't say enough about, I've done a lot of interviews, and interviewing you today has inspired and encouraged me to continue on. And I know if we have any kids watching this, they're encouraged as well. But I want to thank you for coming and being on the show today and sharing your passion.
All right, thank you. It's an honor to be on the show.
Okay. And I want to thank you, our viewers, for tuning in to Attention Central Texas.